Greetings and welcome. My name is Mike Bankhead. I am your host. I am a bass player and songwriter from the Gem City, Dayton, Ohio. I have a face that is meant for podcasting. My guest on this episode has a face that is meant for television. If you live in the Dayton area, you might have seen him on television. He is a news anchor. We're not talking to him about his day job, though. We're talking about music. That's right. He's about to release a record. Find out about it on the You Could Be My Aramis podcast. It is my pleasure to welcome Zac Pitts to the program. Let's get to the conversation. Hey there, Zac.
What's going on, dude?
A lovely Thursday. Today is Thursday, right?
Today is Thursday.
Thank you for taking the time to come chat with me. Normally, when we talk, we're at a show and it's loud. We can now have a conversation that's a little quieter and let a whole bunch of other people also hear it.
Yeah, and everybody can just be the fly on the wall now.
Yeah. So there's a couple things I wanted to talk to you about. First, I want to talk about Sound Valley and how you're helping musicians in the greater Dayton area. This is your cue to tell us all what exactly you do there. And there goes my camera. What exactly you do at Sound Valley and how you're helping independent musicians.
Yeah, so Sound Valley really has kind of evolved over the last couple of years. It's really just been a matter of trying to figure out what's the need in the community when it comes to people that are creative, musicians, artists, bands, and really trying to give them the tools and the know-how when it comes to marketing. That's something that is just kind of second nature to us, is the marketing. And a lot of it comes from working in a media background. And when we started this whole venture, the whole idea was, how do we take what we've learned through professional television production and media and apply that to something we're passionate about, which is the music community. And, we are never, stopping when it comes to, trying to expand our knowledge on marketing and digital marketing and trying to understand what that landscape looks like as it applies to a local band or artist and trying to pass those tools along to bands and artists. So that's really where we've been focused over the last several months, is really trying to figure out where we're going in terms of that. But a lot of people obviously know our music festival that we put on each and every year, the Sound Valley Summer Music Festival, and that thing has grown what seems like exponentially every single year. And the whole idea of that is, we know that there's no shortage of talent in the Miami Valley area when it comes to musicians. And so, again, you leveraging that skill set that we have of marketing and promotions, trying to get all these people around the Dayton area to one central location, that being Yellow Cab Tavern, and just saying like, hey, these are some of our favorite bands. These are some people that you need to be aware of and put on your radar. And so we're trying to expose people to the great talent and trying to give bands and artists a stage to play on. I mean, quite literally, but expose them to a much larger audience.
But Zac, I just want to write songs and make sure that people hear them. Why do I need to care about marketing?
So the way I honestly look at it is it's 50-50, right? You can be the greatest songwriter in the world, but no one's going to ever hear it if you don't know how to get it in front of someone. A lot of musicians I have found have this mentality of, if I build it, they will come. That's not how it works. If you don't have a system to put that music or that product out in front of someone, that's the most expensive hobby that you're ever going to have. And it's the same thing. Like I guess that's what we're trying to do, is really show it's a business. They call it a music business for a reason. Your songs are your products. Those are your hooks that attract people into your world. And if you don't have a way to put that in front of somebody and give somebody a reason to care, then again, it is an expensive hobby. And as I've been putting out my own music, that's something that I've really come to realize is, man, this has been one expensive project. But what's the point in putting all this time and money and energy into it if I'm not trying to show it to somebody? Don't get me wrong, let me go ahead and back up. There's nothing wrong with writing music and having something for yourself. That's the greatest thing about music. It can be just for yourself. But if your goal and your intention is to share that music, well, then that's what you've got to do. You have to share that music And you have to leverage these tools that we have at our disposal to do that. And there's never been a better time to be an independent artist if you know how to run a Facebook ad, if you know how to be a guest on a podcast and talk about yourself to where it's not just about you as the artist, but what does your music as the artist do to benefit the listener? And so it's just, to me, and coming from that media background, I understand how that all works. And so I really want to try to share just those little tweaks with artists so that they can start, taking their music business and getting some real growth on it.
I like the way you say that because you're clearly a professional at media and marketing, and I agree with you 100%. The way I always say it is the second that we as musicians want someone to give us money for a CD or money to play a show, that makes you a business. That makes you a professional, right? There's been fundage transferred. Name me any business that doesn't advertise.
That is,
you have to,
any business,
because you need customers, right? And so for us, the customers are the people that come to our show, the people that will buy our T-shirts, the people that will buy our CDs, the people that our music moves emotionally. And when you're an artist, it really hurts sometimes to think about the people listening to your hard-earned art as customers, but in a way, they absolutely are.
Mm-hmm. I mean, at the end of the day, what your music is a hook. It is a hook that's bringing somebody into your world. People will connect with a song. They'll hear a song, connect with a song, but what they ultimately are going to monetize and purchase is the relationship with you as the artist. That's why we buy a T-shirt at a show. That's why we buy a T-shirt off the wall. That's why we will buy a CD in a streaming world. Because people want to support the artist. And that's what you ultimately are monetizing in any capacity. Is, why do people go the iPhone and Apple route over an Android? Because it says something about who they are. And so that's the way I really want bands and artists to start looking at it, is people will support you because it says something about who they are by supporting you. And every business needs to advertise. A business doesn't run without leads. And bringing people into your world to just check out your music and get them to come back to that second show or buy a piece of merch or support you on Patreon, whatever that is, you have to remember that it's a relationship. Don't jam something down somebody's throat. Invite them in to become part of the process with you.
That is perfectly said. So let's try to establish for our listeners, let's start building a relationship with Zac Pitts. And I'm going to go chronologically. Think back to as far as you can remember in your youth. What was the first song you can remember hearing?
The first song that I remember hearing, I remember when I realized I liked Green Day a lot. I remember being a little kid and Beavis and Butthead was on, and the original where, they would watch music videos in between like the little, series of the episode. And that's the first time I ever heard Basket Case. And I was like, that is the coolest thing I've ever heard before in my life. And I don't know if that's my earliest memory, but that's something that always jumps out at me. And I'll never forget being at, I think it was a Kmart. I remember hearing that song, seeing it, not knowing who the band was but that melody stuck in my head. And sometimes I give myself the creeps. And I remember being at a Kmart many, many years later and picking up a CD and, at Kmart, like where you could like put the barcode underneath one of those scanner things and listen to the album. And I remember that song came on. I just picked up a random CD and that came on. And I remember I had this flashback moment where I was like, oh, this is that song. And I remember like thinking like, I like this. This is what I like. But growing up, man, I was I wouldn't say that pop punk or pop rock was like the first thing I gravitated towards. I grew up on a lot of pop, my first concert was Backstreet Boys, actually.
Wow.
But no, honestly, I think I was talking about this the other day, that reason I think I ever picked up a guitar in the first place was because I'm the oldest of, there's three of us, three brothers. And I remember when Hanson was a big deal, and I was like, oh, those are three brothers that like are in a band together. I've got two younger brothers. We could do that too. And needless to say, I was the only one that really like, took it somewhere and wanted to actually do something with that. But, it's little sparks that make you do something.
Yeah. So you were born in the 90s then?
No.
Or late 80s. Okay. Close.
89.
Yeah, Basket Case is Pachelbel's progression. So that just basically shows you can take a music idea that's 200 plus years old and make a punk song out of it.
It's a good jam. It's one of the best.
It is a good jam. I remember I was a junior when that record came out, I believe. So either might have been a sophomore. Yeah, anyway, I'm old. That's the point. So you started playing guitar. How long did it take you to start writing songs after you learned how to play guitar?
It's hard to really say. I think I kind of diddled around with it for a little bit. Like I remember I really started getting serious into it, or getting serious with it probably when I was in fourth grade. And the first song I learned how to play, and I don't even think I played it right, I at least tried to do it, was I was going through a Goo Goo Dolls phase, and I really wanted to play the song Iris for the talent show. And honestly, when I look back, I'm like, that's not how you play that song whatsoever. But like the guitar teacher at the time said, like, this is good enough. And I'd probably say like within like, a year of doing that talent show, I just kind of tried making songs around the same chord progression that I learned trying to play that song. And which was typically just like a D, A, G over and over and over again. And trying to bounce some lyrics, off of that chord progression. And, I think once I learned the power chord, I was like, oh, I can do anything. I'm unstoppable. I mean, as many people who, grew up in that era probably felt once they discovered it. It's like, oh, this is all I need. This is the same chord progression. All I got to do is move it around this neck and voila.
The foundations of rock and roll right there, the power chord. So we're gonna bring it a little bit more modern, and I want to talk about your songwriting process today. So let's say that you were going to sit down and write. What's the first tool that you reach for?
Definitely a guitar, and I'm excited to talk about this. Nobody's ever asked me these questions before, so
you're kidding.
Fun. No,
this is the kind of stuff that musicians. I mean, you know this. We talk about this kind of stuff amongst ourselves.
Usually, it's me asking the question.
Oh, okay.
So it's weird for me, and I've always whenever I don't know. But I appreciate it. Let me think about it for a moment. I definitely pick up a guitar and just kind of noodle around for a little bit, and a lot of times melodies are what come to me first. I find myself a lot in the car humming or saying random sentences that don't make any sense whatsoever. But the more I keep like saying those random sentences and different melodies, something kind of pokes out. I'm like, okay, there's something there. And I don't know how you are, but there's some songs where they've come together in an afternoon where I've come home from work, I sat down, picked up a guitar, and literally a song wrote itself in less than an hour. Whereas there's been other songs where I've worked on it for, 6-7 months. And both are on, this latest album. A song like Civil War, which is on Midwest Romance, that album, like that song wrote itself in less than an hour. Whereas Let Go, that was over the course of 6-7 months. And you kind of have the feeling, okay, this is it. Nothing else needs to be changed. Or you kind of have that feeling where you agonize over a song like, oh, I don't like the way that this lyric or this line flows into this. This could be better. Everything's different. It always flows differently. I went through a phase where I got a loop pedal and I was obsessed with that, and a chord progression just would loop over and over and over again. And coming back from that foundation of pop music, where a lot of pop music is built on the same chord progression
Yep.
And you just kind of add layers or take away layers. But a song like Caught in the Moment, that song was written that way. Clarity was written in the same way. Forever and More, again, just a loop played over and over and saying, okay, let's come up with a chorus, and just humming to the same chord progression and using that same chord progression to come up with the verse. Honestly, the process is different for me every single time. It's just who am I listening to at the time? What kind of inspiration strikes at this point? It's always different. Just have fun with it.
So it sounds like you're a music first songwriter, not so much a lyrics first songwriter.
I'm definitely more melody driven. I'll tell you that much. I'm more melody driven. Like, I like earworms. I like something that gets caught in your head. But then I think that the lyrics, like, to me, I want something that, like, means something to me. And, like, I hate throwaway lines. And I beat myself up if I have a throwaway line. I'll sit there and say, like, oh, I hate the bridge. I hate the bridge because it just sounds like some cliche lines that I threw in there. So I'll agonize over something until it's like I have something. I'm like, okay, I'm saying something here, and it feels genuine. It feels real. It feels like it's not just some cliche lines that would fit.
Well, that's quality control, is what that is.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
right.
I try to.
You touched on this a little bit, but I want to go super explicit on it. How do you know when the song is done?
I don't think a song's ever done.
Oh, I like that answer. Why not?
Because I mean, when we were working on Midwest Romance, just in the recording process, something can always be better. I mean, that's life, though. You as a human being can always be better, and that's the goal, right? Is to, like, never stop working on yourself, but knowing you're never going to actually be finished. Because if you're not growing, you're dying. And I think that what you have to be able to do, though, with a song is have fun with the process. When you're working on it, put everything that you have into it, and putting a deadline on yourself. And that's eventually what I had to do with this album. Was I had to say, like, this is the last day we're working on it. You're not touching it anymore, because we can't, because I've spent way too much damn money, spent too much time, and I'm just ready for people to hear these songs. So I don't think a song's ever really done, because, think about when you've played a song over and over and over again, like when you go play it live, how many different ways do you sometimes sing it? Like bands and artists that have been playing the same song for decades play it differently live, just to keep it fresh, keep it new. So I think at some point you just have to, when you're in the studio, give yourself a deadline and say, okay, I am not going to redo this verse for the 18th time.
I know that feeling. All right, so now let's shift into Midwest Romance discussion. I want to know when you decided that you needed to make an album.
It's honestly just been something I've always wanted to do, and for some reason or another, it just took way longer than I ever thought it would. There was a point when I was playing some music with some guys. I was in a band several years ago called Flee the Valley, and it was with some really good friends of mine. And some of the songs actually made their way onto Midwest Romance. But it was kind of like what you were saying. Like, when do you know a song's done? Back then, nothing could get done because I had this. I tried to make everything perfect, and perfection doesn't exist. So that album never came to fruition. And I also tried doing it myself. I built a little project studio in my house. And don't ever try to make your first album by yourself with your own, unless you are, prolific when it comes to recording software. And the thing is, it's like when you work on it by yourself, like, nothing will ever get done, because you can sit there and you can tweak a vocal over and over and over again. You can tweak a guitar over and over again. That's the benefit of having yourself a producer in the studio, because then they're a second person to say, like, no, you're done.
Yeah.
Done.
So let's talk about that guy. You went and hired trusted professional engineer and producer Patrick Himes, who has engineered all of my work except for one song so far that I've put out. He's worked with scores of people in our city and scores of people in Nashville back when he was down there. He has his reputation for quality. It precedes him wherever he goes. What was your experience like headed down to Real Love and getting to work with him?
It was really good. I think that I would say maybe halfway through maybe a little bit before the halfway point, but we started really figuring each other out and the best way to get the best product out. And that's something that he is incredibly talented at, is pulling the best out of you. When it comes to vocals, I've always been very self-conscious about it, but he has a way of coaching you through it where you're like, oh my gosh, that's me. Thank you for pulling that out of me. And he's great at coaching you through vocal takes. He's great at just kind of having an idea of where some extra instrumentation could go. Like, I'm really good at a structure. I'm really good at building a foundation and writing the song in its entirety. But he's so good at flavor and ear candy, and he's so good at giving the song a new life. A lot of the sounds that we put on this album was kind of a 80s inspired Juno synth thing. We use that tool a lot, and a lot of that was him. Like, I knew that I wanted some stuff like that, and I knew I wanted some real synths, but he knew the tools to use and how to get them to make the sound that was going to actually take this thing to the next level and make it sing and make it soar, make it fly.
I like that particular toy of his. I have no idea how to use it. Like, it's just it's an inscrutable box of goodies to me that makes noises that, like, you've heard them all. Mm-hmm. Lots of times in movies or sound effects, you've heard them all in music and in movies, but you're like, this is the thing that makes that weird warble. Okay.
Yeah, he definitely knows how to pull all the sounds out of it. That's for sure.
How long did it take you to make the record?
We started working on it the very beginning of 2019, and here we are. It's the end of 2022, and I think we wrapped up probably September, I think.
Wow.
Was the last time we were in the studio.
Almost 4 years. Like, just shy of 4 years.
Yeah, it was a minute.
That is like, I was going to say that's the gestation period of an elephant, but that's even longer than the gestation period of an elephant.
And a lot of that too is because, like I said, I had to really get better about trying to not make everything perfect. And he has such a way of, because I was dead set on getting a lot of things tuned and really perfect. But the way that it was explained to me was, you call it a recording for a reason. You call it a record for a reason, because it records a moment in time, and you can look back on that and see your growth. And I think that was what sealed the deal for me, was because I think over the last few years, that's something that's become pretty important to me, is my personal growth, my personal development, the growth that I've had as a human being. And when he put it to me like that, I'm like, okay, that's cool, because rather than writing a book, and capturing that moment in time, I wrote an album, captured who I was in a 4-year span of these songs that I've had over the last few years. And some of them were written during the album, but it captured a moment in time. And I can look back and say, that's where I was when I was in my early 30s. And it's a cool feeling.
It's, I think it might be a little generational, because I share Patrick's, I don't believe in tuning vocals either. And I am by no means a singer, but when I record with Patrick, you just sing it until it's no longer pitchy, right? You've had this experience. Nope, that's flat. Do it again. Nope, that's sharp. Do it again. And a lot of modern music is pretty much standard for modern pop music to have the vocals tuned. But yeah, I don't know if there's too many engineers in our town that believe as strongly as he does about not doing that. It's a very old school approach. But I'm an old school kind of dude, so I get it. It's good that you were brave enough to subject yourself to that.
Yeah, I mean, if I'm honest and say, well, I do that every time, I don't know. I'm not sure yet.
Maybe not.
I'm not sure yet, but I'm grateful for that experience because when I listen to it, I can say to myself, like, that is authentically me. And, actual work went into it.
Yeah.
There's been times where I've recorded before in little apartment studios, and which aren't really, and then literally, you're done with a song in 4 hours, and I'm like that, but that doesn't even sound like me when it's all said and done. And so I think that's the magic in it, is you get the real version of yourself, and it doesn't sound like plastic. Everybody, it's all about preference at the end of the day. And
Yep.
Like I said, will I do it that way every single time moving forward? Will I, I don't know. But I'm grateful for this past experience.
Are you happy with it now? When we make albums, we listen to the song so many times, especially when we're trying to improve mixes, right? That, I mean, it backward and forward. Can you listen to it? Like, can you put it in your CD player now objectively and listen to it and enjoy it? Or do you still hear things that you wish you would have done differently?
I am happy with it. And I think it's just because I think that if I would have sat there and tried to redo it over and over and over again, I would have I would have started hating the songs because you grow some animosity towards it. You're just like, oh, this is just so, and you don't want to have that relationship with your music.
No, you don't
have that relationship about anything that you're passionate about. I am a person who tries to be, perfectionism is evil. That's something that I struggle with.
Me too. And, you were talking to another perfectionist, so I get it.
Yeah. So no, I'm happy with the way it all turned out, and again, like I was trying to go for a modern pop sound, but not using amp sends, not tuning the vocals like super hard, or at all really. It's all real stuff, and the synths, they're real synths, they're not plugins.
Yep.
And I listen to other stuff, and it sounds thin, and you can hear the life and the recording, and I think that's cool. And I would have never really understood the impact that has, having not gone through the process. Because the first EP an EP I made maybe 7 years ago or so, was all in my house, like with amp sims and a little USB mic, and thought okay, this is how you make an album. It's totally not.
I mean, it is how some people make albums.
It is, and you know what? You can hear the difference.
You can
hear the quality, and but nothing like it's art is art, creativity is creativity. Do whatever you want to do to express yourself, but having gone through the experience, it's like I've learned an efficient way to go about doing things, and I know the right way to go about doing things when you're trying to achieve a certain sound.
So I imagine that after almost 4 years of work, you're just ready to get it into the hands of the general public now.
Yeah. You get to a point where you're tired of hearing the songs by yourself. You want to share it with other people. And again, like going back to the original point, the original conversation, like when it comes to getting your music out in front of people, that's the part that I'm good at. That's the part that I know how to do effectively. Not just music, but just things in general. Like I understand that. And a lot of it too, if I'm honest, is like a big part of why I wanted to release my own music. Obviously, it was something for myself, but I felt like it was hard for me to try to help other bands and artists without doing it for myself. I could say all day long, like, hey, this is how you run an ad. This is how you make your creative. This is how you actually target people. Here's how you do X, Y, and Z. Like, but there's a little voice in my head that says, Zach, who are you to tell other people to do that? If people are going to say like, yeah, but why aren't you doing it for yourself? Fair question.
Yeah.
And I understand that, but I also, so it was two part. Like one, I always wanted to put together an album for myself. It's something that I've always wanted to do. And also it was like, okay, well, I need to be able to have this asset to do it for myself so I can show people how to replicate it.
Yeah.
And so that was a big part of it too.
So we're having this conversation on Thursday, December 1st. I am scheduling this podcast to release on next week, Wednesday, December 7th. So let's pretend it's Wednesday. Hey, listeners, do you have anything going on Saturday? If I have something I would like you to do on Saturday, and Zach has something he would like you to do on Saturday. What should we send all the listeners to do on Saturday, Zach?
I think you need to come and see Midwest Romance performed live in its entirety at Yellow Cab Tavern with the doors opening at 7:00. And I'm super excited about it. I have some guest vocalists going to be joining me, Amber Hargett and also Sam King, who each did some vocals on a couple of the songs that turned out incredible. And I also have my buddy Dakota Tapman from Dak Daniels and the Holy Smokes. He's going to be performing as well. It's going to be a good time. I haven't performed live in several years, and so hoping it goes well.
How are rehearsals going?
Well, as a matter of fact, our first rehearsal is tomorrow. But like, so that's the other thing that's been crazy too. It's like, I basically mapped everything out, like wrote all the music out for everybody for the band that's going to be playing, and everybody's kind of learning their own parts on their own time, and then we're coming together and whoosh, making it all happen. And we have a couple of rehearsals to get through, and I think it's all going to be great. I'm pretty excited about it.
So if I want to buy a ticket in advance, that means I pay less than I would at the door on Saturday. So if I buy a ticket today or tomorrow or Friday, how much is it going to cost me to get in to see your show?
So if you go to soundvalleydayton.com, that's going to be the best place to get your ticket. There's 3 tickets. You have a single ticket, which is $12. But if you bring people with you, you get in actually even cheaper. So a single ticket's $12, a couple's ticket's $20, and a group ticket, which is 4 entries, is $40. So what you're essentially doing is getting people in for free, because on the day of the show, if you were to pay at the door, it's $15 a person. So, my whole thing is I want to be able to have people get their tickets early, so you can save some money. And you also have the opportunity on the website as you're going through the checkout process to get what I call the Jumpstart bundle, which has the album and some other little merch items for like a really discounted price, which is like $9 or something like that. Whereas if you were to get that at the show, it's going to be a little bit more expensive. So, it's just kind of my way of having people get their tickets early, and my way of saying thank you to getting your tickets early by trying to offer those items and the ticket itself at a kind of discounted rate. So it's a win-win for everybody. It helps me out, lets me know that you're coming, and helps me offset some of the costs for the marketing and getting flyers and Facebook traffic and even just, hiring the sound, all those different things. So it's a win-win for everyone.
Everybody, you should give Zach your money by buying a ticket in advance for the show this Saturday over at Yellow Cab.
Yeah, well, just come on out and have some fun. And I hope you like the album. Like I said, it's been a long time since I've played live. And this is one of those moments that I've been dreaming about for several years now. And Will everything be absolutely perfect? Probably not. Is the album absolutely perfect? Absolutely not. But am I going to leave it all on the stage and have fun and make this a memory that lasts a lifetime? Absolutely.
Yeah. It's all about the experience. So, thanks, Zac, for taking time out of your busy schedule to talk to me. Other than soundvalleydayton.com, where can I send people to find you on the internet?
ZacPitts.com, ZACPITTS.com, and follow me on Facebook. And I am really trying to focus on just growing my audience online. And one thing I would encourage somebody to do is you can go to ZacPitts.com/free music, and you can get the album for free, but it's a backstage pass is what I call it, where you can listen to the whole song, the whole album rather, but actually watch videos that explain what the songs are about and kind of get a behind the scenes take on everything. And, that's something that's important to me is, I want them to be catchy songs that you can hum along and sing along to, but I want you to know that, these songs are inspired by, real life occurrences. So I like to be able to take somebody behind the curtain a little bit. So if you go to ZacPitts.com/free music, you can get that. And, or if you want to, of course, order the Jumpstart bundle for free, you can order that online as well. I just ask people to pay for the shipping and handling, but I'll send you the merch bundle that comes with the album and some little merch items as well. It's free if you just pay the shipping and handling.
Outstanding. So again, thank you for your time, and I'm looking forward to seeing your show this coming Saturday, because we're still pretending it's Wednesday, even though it's the previous Thursday. This coming Saturday at the Yellow Cab.
Awesome. Thank you so much, Mike. I appreciate what you're doing and, doing your part to grow the music community and just shine a light on the cool things that are happening in our city. And can't wait to see what else you come out with.
Thanks. Once again, I am grateful to Zac Pitts for taking the time to talk to me on this podcast. I am grateful to you, dear listener, for also spending time with me. If you live in the Dayton area, Saturday night is going to be a good time. Why not come out and see some high energy rock and roll? So instead of just taking you out with my exit music today, I figured let's give the people a teaser of Zac's new album here on the You Could Be My Aramis podcast. I asked Zac, he agreed. So what you're going to hear next is Clarity, which is track 7 on Midwest Romance. Enjoy.
Temperature on lonely nights when the blankets alone won't satisfy. I need to wanna feel someone. Your heart is colder than the state you're from. You only want me for company on days you cry, 'cause a fling back at home when it fed you lies. But you're hungry for somebody's touch, a little taste until you've had enough. You're finding comfort and solace between the folds of my wallet, but baby, at least you're having fun. A cheap little victory pays off all insecurities, breaking hearts just for the fun. You take and run, but trust me, know I'm alright. Trust me, know I'm alright. Don't you think that I should know it makes more sense to just end this and walk away? You pull me in closer to crazy in the worst kind of way. Can I get some clarity? Empty insides, littered in lies. in this and walk away. You pull me in closer to crazy in the worst kind of way. Can I get some clarity? Can I get some clarity? Don't you think that I should know? It makes more sense to just end this and walk away. You pull me in closer to crazy